Good morning, Mateusz. How are you?
Good morning, Paul. I'm good, thanks. How about you?
I'm very well. And is it good morning where you are today?
Indeed, it is. So
Right.
I'm based in Kraków, Poland, so it's 10:30 today, and the weather seems okay. As so far, so good.
Right. And we've woken up to quite a grey morning. It's 15 degrees. What sort of temperature do you have there?
It was more towards 18, 20, something like this.
Right. And is that the norm for this time of year in Poland?
It's a bit colder than usual, but yeah, after the summer, especially that summer, that's quite refreshing.
And did you have the heat waves the same as the UK? Because it did spread right across Europe, didn't it?
It did spread across the Europe, but UK, I guess it was a big change and very drastic to a lot of people. In Poland, we are a bit more used to heat waves, and it was a bit less impactful than in UK.
Right. That's interesting to know that, actually. So, Mateusz and Matt, as you said before the off air, I've met you through LinkedIn, and we've had a couple of meetings and discussed what we both are doing in the industry. So, for the benefit of our audience today, can you tell us about yourself and give us some of your background story?
Certainly. So let's start with what I do today. So today I'm a global project manager and global product manager, where I support ABB in our carbon neutrality commitments, but I also walk through this journey and create an external offering to help our customers decarbonize their buildings.
Right. And when you say customers, what sort of customers are they?
Usually building owners. So I focus on commercial buildings, and we have these three key stakeholders: building owners, tenants, and building operators or facility managers. All of them have interlinked goals, a bit conflicting priorities, and the goal is to satisfy all three of them.
So the goal isn't necessarily sustainability. It's obviously driving down cost, managing their bottom lines, etc. Yeah.
Certainly. It's all about energy trilemma, but also comfort and operation of the building. We all know building owners own the CapEx, but usually tenants pay the OpEx costs. And facility managers stand in the middle and need to know the technology, support all of them. So my goal is to help all these three stakeholders cooperate and drive results.
Right. And how long have you been working for ABB?
I've started my 7th year now, so it's quite a long time, but it's been a journey. It's been a journey. I moved to this role through different phases, through different functions. So for me, coming back to energy industry has been quite a story as well.
Right. So let's hear the story. Let's go right back. Take us back to the beginning, Matt, when you left school or when you started your career, your learning, etc.
I guess I need to go back to 2010. And from my background, I was raised in energy poverty, and that's why I decided to study energy engineering to help everyone get clean energy for all. And then while studying at university, I also started family, and that's why I landed my first procurement internship at Rolls-Royce. But this was just to make ends meet. So I happened to join procurement by accident, as many of procurement professionals do.
Right.
A year later, I enrolled into graduate program at Shell, also in procurement, but I always try to be within energy companies or work with energy companies. And I'm thankful to Shell and the University of Science and Technology, so my university, for their trust and flexibility I was giving, because I needed to juggle full-time job, full-time studying, and starting a family. So I got a lot of support both from the company and from university.
And I'm sure you would have needed that support. That was a big ask, wasn't it, to juggle all of that?
Indeed, it was. And my employer was very flexible when it came to when I start work, when I finish work, and it was my first real-time task-based management, or being managed on a task-based basis rather than time basis. It was a really good learning opportunity, and well, it impacted the rest of my career.
Yeah. Tell me about the procurement element of it. What was you procuring?
A lot of services, some tools, nuts, bolts, all the small stuff. So and also IT services for Shell and their trading and shipping business. But I also had a chance to work with a refinery in US and support them on their energy efficiency programs. And this is where I started coming back a bit to the energy industries, where I started helping our engineers get or make their sites much more energy efficient with what I did in procurement. So project procurement, CapEx oriented and OpEx oriented, towards helping our engineers towards energy efficiency.
And what sort of technology was that ranging from?
A lot of different technologies, but the major one where I supported Shell in US was their industrial steam processing, where I worked together with the MRO supplier, where we helped change their nuts, bolts, screws, valves, everything across the steam process handling to help lower the steam leakages. And we managed to save 7 figures on these kind of projects.
Wow. There's a significant a lot of waste in steam, isn't there?
Indeed, industrial energy efficiency is a big topic, and this is also what drove in the rest of my career, focusing on industrial energy efficiency and now moving more towards building energy efficiency as well.
I know I'm distracting your story here, but for me, steam waste, you can see it. So as long as you can see the waste in the steam going up, you can. It's one of the only energies that you can see that you're wasting, I think, because you can see it in the air. Or am I being a bit too easygoing on it? Is it sometimes they're hidden waste with steam?
It depends where, and there are regional differences how energy efficiency is treated, what people see, what people can notice, and what they cannot notice. A lot of it is visual. Some of it is metered. So some people just see the waste that goes up and becomes a greenhouse gas. Steam is quite a big greenhouse gas as well. And some of it can be metered. A lot of it is not metered as well. So people, they don't know what they miss.
So from the procurement level, you was looking at metering as well. You was looking at all the aspects of energy management. It's quite an interesting concept here, because I'm talking to someone who's a procurement specialist that understands energy management. We don't normally see that, do we, in this industry?
That's a good perspective. Never thought about it, but indeed, it's it's very scarce competence to meet person who does procurements, does construction projects, and understands energy management. Indeed. It's rather other way around, where energy managers try to get themselves up to speed on the procurement topics.
Exactly. And there's us as energy managers as trying to influence the procurement side, division, department, etc. And from an energy management point of view, it's focusing on the energy efficiencies. Procurement is always, for me, it's all about cost, isn't it? It's all about driving the cost down of procuring the right technology, the right service, the right product. They go through the different criterias, but very seldom we see that the criteria within their focus, what they're looking to purchase, is energy savings. We are seeing that changing though, with the likes of ISO 50001, aren't we? There's a lot of focus utilizing that.
Indeed. But this is also an opportunity for energy managers and procurement managers to cooperate, not on a one-by-one, project-by-project basis, but more on the portfolio approach. Just sit with your procurement person, explain your 10-year plan, show them how you plan to increase energy efficiency and therefore drive savings, and let them report it as savings as well.
Yeah.
Not only project by project, but on the whole OpEx side. This is precisely what gets in the end into the financial figures of the company.
Yeah. The return on investment, basically. Yeah.
Indeed, the return on investment, but not on one investment, but on a program of various investments.
Portfolio. Yeah.
Indeed, yes.
So what has been the driver behind this, Matt? You started off talking about in your country, fuel poverty, etc., and that was your drive. What was the driver regarding your energy management sort of beliefs now?
I think it changed throughout my career. The first thing I always wanted was to come back to energy industry. And this is what actually shaped my journey, shaped my beliefs in this way. Just to share, after Shell, I joined ABB also in the procurement department, buying various services, also consulting services. And then I was offered to buy construction projects, and then on top of that, energy. And I felt that each year my beliefs on energy management, what needs to be done, changed and continue to evolve. Same way with energy efficiency, decarbonization, it changes depending on where you sit and what your KPIs are. But you need to get a lot of experience to come down to it all boils down to the energy trilemma. So managing these competing priorities of energy security, sustainability, and affordability. Because in the end, it's one complex system that has these conflicting priorities.
What's the word you're saying there? Is it the energy dilemma?
Energy trilemma. Because there are three of them, right? Energy security, affordability, and sustainability. And they are a bit competing to each other.
Yeah. I've never heard that. And now I like that. Say it again for us.
Energy trilemma. Sustainability, security, and affordability.
Right. And where does that come from? Is that something that you've put together, Matt, or is that something that has come from ABB?
Oh, I thought it's the industry-wide term.
So, right.
So I use it continuously. I heard it quite a long time ago. Not sure who created this phrase, but I thought it's widely used.
Right.
So at least across ABB, we use it quite a lot when it comes to energy management. But the whole energy system as well. Right.
Well, look, I appreciate you sharing that with us today, because it's a new phrasing that I've picked up on today. So I appreciate that. So tell us more about sort of your background and what's sort of making you what you're doing today?
I spent 4 years managing procurements across ABB Group, energy procurements across ABB Group. And it shaped me quite significantly because the first thing I did in my new role, well, then new role, is I didn't reach out to operations. I didn't reach out to my procurement managers. I reached out to sustainability and asked them, what are your goals? How can I make it happen?
Mm.
And it was funny because they told me that I'm the first procurement person who reached out to them. So
wow.
Before renewable energy procurement was sexy, so it's now it's more important, but it was back in a day when not too many companies thought about it this way.
Yeah.
And this is where we build up our strategy, energy procurement strategy across ABB on first data, getting the right data at the right time, real time across the portfolio. Second, minimizing consumption. Third, managing the cost risk, and fourth, managing sustainability of our procurements. And we managed to start off towards getting to 100% renewable energy. And when I started, it was 7%. When I ended my procurement role, it was 32%. So it was, over 4 years, quite a big improvement. It shaped me a lot, and I started helping our sales teams in promoting energy efficient products, energy efficient solutions, and decarbonization solutions to our customers. And this is where I switched to project management and now product management for our decarbonization offering.
Yeah. How many products are we talking about here?
Oh, well, ABB has hundreds of products that help customers make their sites more energy efficient.
Mm.
I am part of Smart Buildings division, where we support commercial buildings.
Yeah.
So we talk about energy sub-distribution products, energy distribution products like meters, but also like enclosures.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about electrical controls, lighting, shading, occupancy sensors. We talk about HVAC controls, controls for everything regarding heating, ventilation, air conditioning, heat pumps, etc. We talk about variable speed drives, so making your motors much more efficient by frequency regulating them from 0 to 100 across the range, and not only on and off.
Yeah.
And we talk about EV chargers, energy storage, and software solutions that encompass all of them.
Yeah.
All of them interlink, operate, optimize themselves.
And presumably wrap around all of that, you've got the service providing as well. So you have a team of service engineers, service management that can manage all those technologies on behalf of the organization.
ABB currently, as of today, is a technology provider rather than the end-to-end service provider. So we cooperate with system integrators, facility managers who help us reach out to end customer,
right,
and serve the end customer the best. Yeah, recently we signed a partnership with a big facility management company in Finland to reach out to end customers in the best way.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier about the renewable and like the net zero approach, and how you can stage the building and organizations to be net zero. Do you believe that with all your products, you can take an organization off of the grid basically and become 100% net zero?
I believe in partnerships. So there is no company, no financial advisor who can go through energy transition alone and support all the customers in all geographies, in all segments, across all technologies. So I prefer to partner with companies who believe in energy transition, believe in decarbonization, and want to help and want to cooperate to democratize access to energy transition, to decarbonization, to end customers. Because we have the technologies, different companies have different technologies. It's all about how we package them, how we deliver them, and how we finance them.
So let me ask that question. Let me ask the question in a different way. If you had a collaboration of different organizations, different service providers, do you believe we could take an organization off grid 100% and decarbonize them?
I think we could. The question is, do we want to take everyone off grid?
Right.
So yes, islanding is an option. There is an option to put energy generation, energy storage, and energy controls to make it happen. But I do not want to undervalue the value of a grid.
Right.
A grid is a system that helps us interconnect, helps us speak. A grid is like internet for computers.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose that.
Yeah. But then if we made the grid renewable as well, we'd be in a far better position, wouldn't we? If that could all be, no, I think this is my take on it. Yes, the grid is important, but we need to release the grid from the risks around it, because it's quite fragile, really. If we start putting more, for instance, putting more EV on there and expect the cars to be fast charging and ready and available as and when we're doing these journeys, then the pressure goes back on the grid. So we need to give that breathing space, basically. If we take all our buildings off grid, it's a bit of a magic wand time to bring down the climate change, obviously, but I don't think it's feasible. But I think organizations should be shooting for personally, I think we should be shooting for the stars and hitting the moon. That's got to be our approach.
Fully agreed. There are differences between supply market design, between transmission distribution, and between consumption. They all need to cooperate. And we need all three. We need supply, we need transmission distribution with storage, and we need consumption. When you mentioned EVs, yes, this would be a huge challenge for power grids when all people start fast charging their EVs, putting on heat pumps, and wanting to use all of it at the same time.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we have smart charging and smart controls that help us manage that. And this is actually key to successful behind-the-meter optimization. We need smart software that tells all these dumb assets how and when to be used and how to best optimize their load to the needs of the building and the grid local community as well.
Yeah. There's pressures in the industry regarding lead times on technologies. Are you seeing that in your industry?
Lead times are increasing in a lot of advanced markets and advanced businesses, especially we've seen what happened to semiconductors. We see current challenges with supply chain. We see lead times with photovoltaics and batteries being longer and longer. It impacts us as a business, but it impacts us as a society even more. What can we do? We can plan better. That's one thing. We can plan better ahead. We can reimagine our supply chains. But in a nutshell, we should all start with a small, democratic, bottom-up actions, making our life and business more energy efficient and resource efficient as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You can wait a year or two for PV to be installed, but maybe it's easier if you lower your consumption
exactly
by the same amount within a month or two.
I always say energy management is a journey, and the journey has got to be reduce your demand first. Don't start putting solar on the roof now and renewables, etc. Reduce your load first and your demand, because the solar that you might require is probably going to be half the size once you reduce the amount of energy you're not actually meant to be using or using efficiently. So, it's a journey, and I've always stated that. So that leads me very nicely, Matt, into my next question. And it's that time when I like to sort of ask, is there something you can give back to our industry today as a takeaway for our listeners?
I think it all starts with, or it can all boil down into 3 actions. The first one is measure, the second one is control, and the third one is optimize. So the first one, well, measure. What gets measured gets improved. It's like with driving a car, when you see your car is showing you how much you use fuel real time, then you change your behavior to compete, and you compete with yourself to lower that, right? The same with energy. If you see real time how much energy you use, how much carbon emissions you emit, then you can do small actions, changing thermostat settings, using your equipment at different times, all of these small actions, or unplugging all the equipment when you don't need it. Well, first you need to measure, right? It all starts with there. Once you measure, then you can start thinking about savings. And that's where controls come in, and they all come with the same claim, right? The cleanest, greenest, cheapest kilowatt hour is the one you don't need, don't consume, or can switch off. And this is, well, all of it can be easily deployed, and it's quite cheap. So why not doing that? It's quicker than you would need to wait for PV permitting. And the third one is optimizing, optimizing between all the different assets you have in the building. It can be lighting, it can be HVAC, it can be photovoltaic, it can be EV charger, it can be heat pump, all the other equipments. A lot of buildings today, they do not have technology to make these systems, assets talk to each other. And it can happen that EV charger and heat pump and a big HVAC or AC in a different part of the building all start at the same time, go on, and then your load goes through the roof and you become a liability to the grid supplier. Well, if you just allow all of these different systems to talk to each other, you save a lot yourself, and you do good to the community as well.
Brilliant. I really like that. It's a really good approach, and very valuable lesson for our listeners. And I appreciate your time in giving that today. So, Matt, it's been really interesting, the concept here of the introduction of procurement, and the interview regarding that side of it. I've never really interviewed someone from the procurement expertise side of it. And I, thank you for sharing that knowledge today and bringing that different dimension into what we're doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for having me.
And
appreciate your time.
Thank you. And please, you and your family, stay safe in these times.
Thank you, Paul. Stay safe as well. And